Welcome to the Cloud Accounting Podcast. I'm Blake Oliver.
I'm David Leary.
And I am Nayo Carter-Gray.
It's so great to finally meet you and talk to you in person here at the Accounting Salon in New Orleans.
Woohoo!
I didn't say that right. How do I say New Orleans?
You're not supposed to say New Orleans.
Okay.
New Orleans, baby. That's how the locals
I will say it like somebody from Los Angeles.
New Orleans.
New Orleans.
We go way back. You know,
We do.
Lots of first QuickBooks Connect, I think we met.
Actually, it was the second one. I missed the one with Oprah. Wasn't Oprah?
Oprah was the second one.
So then it was the third one because
that is great.
I know. I found out about QuickBooks Connect, Oprah being there the week before it happened.
Got it. And
because I'm in Baltimore, Maryland, the cross-country trip was just a little unaffordable.
You shouldn't find out too late because it's not easy to get hotel rooms in the Bay Area.
Yeah, that is true too.
Big, huge conference. Now you're coming to a much smaller conference, the Accounting Salon.
Yes. And I like events like this because they're smaller and you kind of get to know people a little better. And then you learn more about what's working in everybody else's practice. You kind of get to hear everybody's flubs and mistakes and learn from their mistakes so that you don't have to repeat them yourself, especially when you're newish in business.
Let's talk about that. So tell us about yourself and your business.
So I have been full-time in my accounting practice since 2009. My business started because I got laid off from the recession, even though I have been doing taxes for over 26 years now. And I'll tell you that story. I started my first summer job. I realized that I could get my tax money back. And so I charged all my friends that I knew with jobs $25 to do their tax returns. And so that's how my tax practice started. But after I got laid off in 2008, I decided to venture out and try to do this full time because I am not a morning person. And so somebody telling me I have to be somewhere at 8 o'clock and it's not my decision just upsets me very much. So I love the flexibility and freedom that owning your own business has.
And you took that jump really at the bottom of the economy.
Yes. It was, and luckily for me, I had a supportive partner. My husband now, who was then my boyfriend, was like, all right, so what are you going to do? Are you going to go back to work? Or are you going to try to do this full-time entrepreneur thing? And because I had already been doing it part-time, I had a small client base, and I just told them, hey, I'm starting full-time. Anybody you know, send them my way. And luckily for me, my tax practice kind of doubled in the first year. So I was able to afford to get an office space and have some money in the bank and not feel like a broke college student all over again. And then I got a bookkeeping client who wound up having like 3 businesses. So it was like starting just, out the gate running with 3 clients with 1 client. So I was very, very fortunate and lucky. And, technology has always been my thing. So early on, I decided to start going to some conferences and learning about cloud-based apps and technology that would make the process easier. Because, if you streamline processes, if you use things that work and make your life easy, it makes business better. Because I don't want to be one of those people who just work, and never have time for anything else either.
So are you just doing tax? Or are you doing other services? Are you doing accounting services, bookkeeping services?
Taxes, bookkeeping. I do payroll only for my bookkeeping clients. Tax planning. I'm an enrolled agent, so I also do IRS collections and audits. So
IRS audits, fun.
They can be very interesting.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm doing more collections work than audits. So,
what is that?
So the difference is, say you get a letter from the IRS that says you haven't filed in 3 years. Yeah. So we get you all caught up, and then I help you try to figure out how can you pay this huge tax bill. Because usually people who haven't filed in that long know that they owe, and they know that they owe a lot. And so we come up with some different strategies to minimize how much they pay, maybe do an offer and compromise. Because usually it's not only the federal liability, also have a state liability. And states are very hard to navigate too.
And what sort of clients do you have?
I like primarily working with small business owners, those that are in the startup phase. So they've been in business 0 to 3 years. And I like taking them to the point where they're like, all right, we need to hire someone full time. So I've had a couple of people graduate from me, and I'm totally fine with that because I don't want to turn into anybody else's employee right now.
So when you have a client that's graduating, do you always offload them to another person, another accountant or bookkeeper friend of yours or professional, or do you just kind of cut their wings and let them go on their own? Like, what's that process like for you?
So when I notice that they're putting a strain on my time and resources, I recommend that they probably need to hire someone internally, because it's usually they not only need the accounting bookkeeping help, they also want help administratively. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not your secretary, so we're not going to do that. But, if you hire someone that has certain skills, they can help you not only continue the accounting process piece, but they can help you on the administrative side to automate some of the things that you're expecting me to do.
That was always one of the challenges I had when I was freelancing in particular, is I was doing bookkeeping, and people would expect me to answer their mail for them, and that's what they
think. They
of,
figure they're paying you, and they're paying you to do any and everything they ask you to do. And this is where engagement letters come into play, because you say, that is not in your engagement letter. Yeah. I am not your secretary. Your services are blah, 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 because this is what you're paying for. But if you want to add some services on, we can do that. And I do have some colleagues who include a support package where they can pay additional fee to get that mail answered, get the telephones answered, send out invoices, and do collections. I personally just don't have the time for that right now.
There's a lot of services out there. I think Ruby Receptionist and services like that. It's interesting, but I've never heard of a bookkeeping firm or an accounting firm ever partnering with a service like that.
Right. So
that way you have a place, hey, I have this other relationship with this other company, and we can get your email checked for you and your calendar appointments booked.
And it's funny you mentioned that, because I personally was looking for an answering service for my business, and it is very hard to find one that is affordable and that can answer the phones and understand the types of calls you get from an accounting perspective.
Didn't Google just make something like that this week? You can just...
that would actually be a very good application of Google Assistant.
It would be, very much so. It really would be. Like, now I've found a company, and they take all my calls, but even they screw some of those up too. I'm like, what in the world? But it's because some things just, to me, seem like it would be common sense. Like if someone calls and says, I want an appointment, you kind of direct them to how to schedule the appointment online, or if they say they want an appointment, you get the name and the telephone number so someone can call them back if they don't have access to a computer. But it's very difficult when you get a lead and then have no information to call the person back, no name. It's like
having your kids do it.
Yes, exactly.
They don't write any information down for the phone call.
Right. And if that's the case, I might as well hire my kid.
Well, David is really, putting them to work on our podcast. Right?
I've done some. I've had the kids do some work, but they always want more money.
Well, I'm a big fan of hiring your children because it's a tax benefit, especially if you have a sole proprietorship and they're under the age of 17. Man, you can throw some money in a retirement account and write it all off on your taxes. You can set them up for it.
You need to do this, Dave.
Yeah. I have a whole blog post about it.
There should be a whole podcast about exploiting your children to do work.
Yeah.
So my son is 4 years old. When can I start hiring him?
As long as you have a job description for him, you can start hiring him right away. The key is to make sure you have the formal job description and you pay him regularly. So if you have him putting stamps on envelopes, and he gets paid once a month to do so, then cool.
Okay.
But you can put up to the standard deduction and payment and cash, and then into a retirement account and get a nice tax benefit.
So these are obviously the sorts of insights you were delivering to your clients.
Yes.
Maybe not as aggressive as what David and I are planning, I imagine. but I'm curious to know, where do you see tax headed over the next 5 to 10 years, or just like because you have a cloud-based practice, right? It's very
Yes.
you're not shuffling paper around.
No, I'm paperless. That was, when I started my business, that was key from the jump. I wanted to be paperless. So, and it was funny because I started with Shoebox. I don't know. And most people, okay, you do.
They were like one of the original.
They were original.
One of the first 3 apps. I brought apps.com originally.
Yeah.
And they were acquired by Earth Class Mail. I don't know if you ever used them.
No.
But check out Earth Class Mail. They receive and
scan everything,
for you.
And they do a good job of that. Yeah. It's just their integration suck now, so they haven't kept up with that side of the world.
The shoebox.
Yeah. But we still use them. If I have people who want to give me a whole box, I'm like, no, I'm not taking that. And I have people like, I'll scan it in. You're not going to scan it in. Just mail it to Shoebox. Let them do all the job, and I can work my magic from there.
Saved my life.
Yeah, but where I see accounting and tax, I don't really see it going away. A lot of people are afraid that it's, turning into the bots are going to take over.
Yeah.
They will, but they're going to mess it up. And so accountants are going to be needed on the back end, especially like with IRS audits and stuff, because the IRS uses, artificial intelligence to figure out who the heck they're going to audit. And they also use it to figure out when you did your return yourself, what is it that you messed up on? You can't claim 1 million business miles and not have any other miles. Like, the IRS knows this kind of stuff. So they're going to send you that nasty little letter, and you're going to get scared, and you're going to go to a professional, a CPA, an enrolled agent, or someone who knows how to navigate those borders. Or if you ignore it, you're going to have that $20,000 debt hanging over your head, the lien on your house, and then you're going to do something like get married, and your wife's going to strangle you because her tax refund got snatched because you had this old debt you didn't take care of.
So the bots will create more work for IRS resolution.
Absolutely.
Tax resolution.
I definitely see that. Yeah. And then once you get a resolution client, they want to stay in compliance. So then they don't
learn their lesson.
Yes, they learn their lesson. And they also realize I need someone to help me, because as much as I would love to do this myself, I understand that this is outside of my scope. I may have thought I was saving some money, but it just cost me a whole lot of money to get it fixed in the long run.
It sounds like working on like the tax resolution stuff, you get versus the regular relationship. An account might just have somebody to come in once a year. I'm doing a boring old thing. I'm going to do your taxes, charge you a fee, see you later. You kind of get to be a hero. These people are coming to you a little bit more on the desperate side, and you get to come out ahead. And just, like, is it more rewarding?
It can be more rewarding. It is stressful for the clients, however, because one, the process isn't fast. It's so much faster when you just come and get your taxes done and they're in and out, bam. But with resolution work, you have to gather documents, and it depends on how far back they go. They have to do a little work, so it's very frustrating. So you kind of have to put the client at ease. But once it's all done, the client is then like, oh, such a relief after they've already paid your invoice, because that's another thing. Resolution work can be lucrative depending on how much you save the client. And then, like, for example, there was a colleague who just, after 8 years it took them to get some penalties removed from an S Corp client.
8 years.
8 years. So sometimes it's not as fast.
Yeah. And
clients can get frustrated because they're like, we want this to happen overnight. Especially when, listen to the radio.
Amazon Prime world.
Yes, yes. Amazon Prime, social media. It's like, if I saw you checked in somewhere, I'm expecting you to answer my phone because I know where you are. Yeah.
Well, the problem didn't develop overnight, so.
Yes. It's like, when you gain some weight and you go to the gym 3 times and you're like, why didn't these 10 extra pounds fall off? Yeah.
Why not?
Right.
Yeah. That's why.
So a lot of the listeners can learn things from Blake and myself. Not much, but they can sometimes. But what's the one thing they can only learn from you?
This is a good question. Technology is your friend. So I know they can learn that from you and Blake as well. But I am a big, big, big supporter of apps. And so if there's something you want to be able to do, don't be afraid to go to the App Store and actually look for it and search for it to make your life easier. So that is the one thing that I push on people all the time. There's an app for that, for everything. You want to learn how to drink your water, 8 glasses a day, there's an app that will remind you. You want to be able to, like I have an app that will remind me to brush my teeth before I went to bed because I hate brushing and flossing. So it reminds me like, oh, go do that. And I get some points and, you know. So you want to save some money. There are apps out there that can help you link to your bank card and put a little extra money to the side. So although I know they can learn all of that good, juicy stuff from you guys, I will push it, and continue to push it.
It sounds like what you're saying is that you have to be willing to invest the time to learn about these apps, right? To try them, because I'm sure they don't all work.
They don't all work, but yeah, and I do tell people you spend some time on the toilet every day. It's a good time to test out apps.
Oh, there you go. There you have it.
You know, who doesn't take their phone into the bathroom with them nowadays?
So don't spend all your time on Facebook.
Exactly.
Get on the App Store, try out some new apps, and maybe that'll make you more productive.
Yes, and depending on which phone you have, they even recommend some apps for you.
Yeah.
Based on what you're looking for, right?
It's all about continuous learning, right?
Yes,
we have
absolutely.
to constantly invest in ourselves and our firms.
And yourself as an individual. You can't be running on fumes and then try to work and be productive during the day. So you also have to take some time for yourself to make sure that you are healthy, you're happy, and that you are in a good space to tackle the day.
I like that. Yes. Well, if people want to connect with you and learn more about what you're up to and your firm, what's the best place for them to reach you online?
The best place. Oh, if you want to see all my good, interesting stories, I am on Instagram.
Ooh, Instagram.
Yeah, I love Instagram stories. And I can be followed at Nayo Carter Gray or either First Step Accounting. And that's the number 1 STEPACCOUNTING. And I'm also Nayo Carter Gray on Twitter and Facebook.
You are the Nayo Carter Gray.
I am the only Nayo Carter Gray.
That's good. It's good to have a unique name. I'm the only Blake Thomas Oliver. So. How many David Learys?
There's a lot of David Learys. The worst part is if you Google David Leary, Google assumes you can't possibly be searching for David Leary, and they serve up 8 results of Dennis Leary.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
That is really funny.
Why would you search for David Leary?
Who is David Leary and why should we care?
They think for sure you had a typo. So a lot of people think his name is David Leary, obviously.
You should make a page that just explains the difference.
That's my plan. I talked to an SEO guy, and I can make a page that says, this is David Leary, not Dennis Leary, and I put Dennis Leary over my page, and that'll actually get to the top of the range. So I have a plan to own my own name on Google one day.
I love that. You know, SEO is huge. That's one thing that I plan on tackling this year because that is one area of my business that I just have yet to figure out.
Blake has some lessons he can give you offline at this salon.
That's why we're here at the Accounting Salon. So
Yeah.
let's chat later.
Okay, awesome.
Nayo, thanks so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining the podcast. We'll talk again
I'm so glad you're on.